right? How many type of tissue that human have? 4. What is the first one? Epithelial tissue or ET. What is the second one? Connective tissue or CT. What's the next one? Muscle tissue or MT. And the last one is nervous tissue. Wonderful. You ready for this at least? At least if there is question asking what 4 type of tissue, you ready. ET, CT, MT, and MT. We talked about that already. Now we're gonna go to the more explanation about this every type, each type of this tissue. Okay, we start with the ET. Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue can be divided into several types based on, first, based on function. We're gonna use function first over here. And also it can be divided based on, if you have function, then what was the other one? You have structure, yeah? You know, we learn anatomy and physiology. What? Anatomy is structure, physiology is function. Okay. Based on functions, okay, epithelial tissue can have 2 functions. First, okay, the function of epithelial tissue is for covering, okay, or lining an organ. Okay, so basically every organ will be covered by the epithelial tissue. Your heart, your brains, our skin, all organs covered by epithelial tissue. If it is covering, then mostly the function is for protection. It's protect that organ itself, cover. Some organs have what we call the lumen. Do you know what is lumen mean? It's kind of space, yeah? Space within the organ. Sometimes it's called lumen if it is long organ, like GI tract. Every GI tract will have lumens in it. If it is just small space, like in the heart, sometimes it's called as a chamber. Okay, so we have some organ have lumen, some organ have chamber. Inside this, on this lumen and chamber, it also lined by the epithelial tissue. You with me? It's lining by the epithelial tissue, including your lungs. The alveolar sac of the lungs is actually lining by this epithelial tissue. If it is lining, then there will be several functions. If the epithelial tissue is simple, it means only one layer flat tissue, like in the lungs cell, for example, or lungs alveolar, then the function mostly for what? Diffusion, which is exchanging gas, carbon dioxide and oxygen. It's going to be through the one layer of flat tissue that's lining the alveolus. Get it? If it is lining the GI tract, mostly one layer, but the cell mostly columnar. Columnar means tall, like a column. Okay. Mostly if it is in the GI tract, it's only one layer, but the cell is tall. This is for absorption. Okay, so they have different functions based on where they are located and also how they look like. Okay. Okay, there is another one. If it is one layer, and the linings of the organs, and mostly cuboidal. It means cube, look like a cube cell. This is mostly for gland or secretion. Okay, you follow this? Now the one that covering, which is used for protection, mostly has many layers of cell. Therefore, it's for protection. This is kind of general functions of this first type of epithelial tissue, that covering or lining an organs. Can you follow this? What? So the function is based on where they are located. Okay, how many layers they have, what is the shape of the cell. Okay. Second function, this is glands, glandular. Glandular function is meant to produce something. So for these glandular functions, there are two types of gland. We already mentioned this: exocrine gland and the endocrine gland. So the gland is actually made of epithelial tissue, mostly cuboidal, cube-like shape of the cell. So we know the endocrine glands produce product is called hormones. Okay, so endocrine gland are the gland that produce hormone, and there are maybe about 100 type of hormone: estrogen, progesterone, insulin, right? There are many types, but all of them is called hormone, and the gland that produce them, all of them is called the endocrine gland. Okay, this is the general name. Okay, and then exocrine gland, this is the one that produce the product, and the product is actually out from our body. Therefore, it's called exocrine. For example, sweat gland that produce sweat. What else? Saliva, salivary gland produce saliva. Tears gland produce tears. Mucus gland produce mucus. Wax gland produce wax. Milk gland produce milk. What? That all exocrine gland. And this is function of this epithelial tissue. You follow this? So there are two main functions of the epithelial tissue. Okay. Second, based on structure, it's divided by first shape. There are three shapes. Flat. Okay, the shape is flat. If you see from the side, it's gonna be flat. That flat is called squamous. Squamous means scale, actually. You see the scale of the snake. Okay, so that's actually, if you see, it's flat, right? Do not see from the top, but you see from the side, it's flat, like a plate. What? Plate is flat if you see from the side. And then cube, shaped like a cube. So flat is look like this. You see from the side, it's flat. And then cube, if you see from the side, look like a cube. It's called a cuboidal. And the last one is tall, or like cylindrical, tall, or column, like a column. Therefore, it's called a columnar. Gonna be tall cell like this. Okay, that's based on the shape. You follow this? Now, the second classification based on structure is based on stratification. Okay, stratification. Stratification or arrangement. How it look like? Okay. On this classification, there are three types. It may be only one layer. Like in the alveolus of the lung, it's only one layer. The GI tract it has mostly one layer of epithelial tissue. If it is one layer, it's called simple. Simple. It means that only one layer. Second one is more than one layer. I'm gonna erase this. Okay. Okay. The second one is more than one layer. If it is more than one layer, and it is called a stratified. Stratified. You follow this? Okay. The last one is unique. It is one layer, but look like two layers. It is one layer actually, but it look like, if you see under microscope, it look like two layers. Therefore, it's called a pseudo. Pseudo means fake. Pseudo stratified. It's one layer, but it look like more than one layer. So I'm gonna make picture like this, okay, drawing of this pseudo stratified. So the cell, if you see under microscope, actually one cell is taller, the other cell is smaller, shorter. Taller, small, shorter. Taller, shorter. Taller, shorter, like that. Right? And then what happens if you see under microscope, the nucleus of the taller one is here. Are you with me? And the nucleus of the shorter one is here. Get it? How many layers is that? It's actually one layer, but it looks like two layers. Therefore, it's called the pseudo-stratified. Sometimes the pseudo-stratified also accompany or it has cilia. Many pseudo-stratified ET have cilia that has a function to expel or to remove debris. Most of your trachea is consists of this pseudo-stratified. Okay, trachea, it has pseudo-stratified type of ET. Are you with me? Now, based on this, okay, based on the shape and stratification, usually the name of ET will be coming. So it's, the name of ET will be based on the shape and the stratification. Yeah? If it is one layer of flat cell, like in the lung tissue, what is the name going to be? It's easy. Just take the layer. What is one layer? Simple. And what is the flat? Squamous. So the name of this tissue will be what? Simple squamous ET. Example is in the lung. Okay. If it is one layer, but the cell is cube, what is the name going to be? Simple cuboidal ET. That's easy, right? That's easy name. Example is in the kidney, we have a lot of simple cuboidal ET. Hey. So simple cuboidal ET. Okay. If it is one layer, but the shape is columnar, like in the GI tract, in the intestine, what is the name? Simple columnar ET. Yeah, easy name, right? Based on the shape, the arrangement, and the shape. If it is many layers, but most of the cell flat, like in our skin, what you call it? Stratified. Yes, using this shape arrangement first. Stratified, squamous ET. Right? Stratified, squamous ET. Guess what? It is cube, like in the bladder, for example, in your kidney, but many layer. Then what is the name? Stratified cuboidal ET. But in the kidney, sometimes become transitional ET, because that has the ability to stretch. It's transitional, but actually transitional, they are mostly stratified cuboidal ET. Okay. If it is tall cell with many layers, then stratified columnar ET. That's easy name, right? That's how it is. If it is look like this, one layer but look like two layer, then the name will be pseudo-stratified ET. Get it, right? That ET. We're done. We're done with ET. Now we go to the next type of tissue. What is the next type of the tissue? Connective tissue. Remember we have 4 types. Yeah, ET, and then the next one CT. Yeah, any order is fine, but we go to the CT. What is CT? Connective tissue. Connective tissue. Right? So connective tissue has many functions. Some of them for transportation, like blood, to transport nutrients, oxygen, carbon dioxide, many enzyme, hormone is transported by this blood, which is type of connective tissue. Connective tissue can also use for protection of soft organ, like your brain is protected by bone. Bone is a type of connective tissue. Okay, so many different functions. So this connective tissue, the main character of connective tissue, it has cell. The cell names will be different based on the tissue itself. Like in the blood, the cell will be what? Red blood cell, white blood cell, right? If it is in the bones, the cell will be osteocyte, osteoblast, osteoclast. So they have different name. Okay, so the cell. Okay, they have cell, which is gonna be different name based on different connective tissue. And they also have, what is the second part of the connective tissue? Cells and matrix. Yeah, remember, connective tissue has cell and matrix. What is matrix? Matrix is non-living materials that is actually produced by the cell itself. So the cell produces matrix. Okay? Cell produces the matrix. And the matrix consists of 2 main components. The first one is called the ground substance. Ground substances. Okay? And the second one? Fibers. Good job. You ready? Fibers. Okay. The classification of the tissue, the connective tissue, will be based on these 2 things. Based on the matrix later. Based on the ground substances and also based on the fibers. Now there are 3 types of ground substances. If it is look like water, it's called liquid. Liquid ground substances, like in the blood and in the lymphatic tissue. They are fluid. And then the last one, I'm gonna put the last one first because you have liquid, then you have what? Solid over here. Right? Like in the bone, is very, very solid. This is calcium carbonate. And between them, we call what? Gel or semi-solid. Like under the under our the dermis of our skin is actually have gel type of ground substances. Okay, so gonna be divided based on this and based on the fiber. Fiber also have three main types. If it is very thin, thin fiber is called reticular fiber. It is the thinnest type of fiber. If it is medium size and elastic, it's called elastic fiber. Elastic fiber. If it is really thick and strong, it is called a collagen fiber. Okay, thick and strong. Okay, you get this one first? Now, based on this, ground substances and fibers, then connective tissue will be classified into 5 types. Okay, there are 5 types of connective tissue based on what? Based on the ground substances and the fibers, or based on matrix. You follow this? We're gonna list that, and then we're gonna see the picture later. I hope we have time for that. So based on these ground substances and fiber, or based on matrix, then there are 5 types of connective tissue. The first one is called loose. Loose connective tissue. What does loose mean? Loose means the fiber, they are loosing. They are not binding close one another. They're just everywhere. It's loose. The fiber, they are everywhere. It's not close one another. It's not binding closely. So loose connective tissue. And this loose connective tissue, there are 3 of them in our body. The first one is called the areolar connective tissue. This is actually the dermis of our skin, made of the areolar connective tissue. The second one is reticular connective tissue, and the name is, you're gonna see that mostly the fiber will be what type? Reticular fiber. Mostly it is the soft organ like our spleen is consists of this reticular connective tissue. The fiber mostly reticular fiber, that is loose. They're not close one another. And the last one is called the adipose connective tissue, which is fat. This is fat tissue. Fat tissue mostly do not really have fibers on it. And fat tissue actually have the ability to fill with fat as much as they can. As therefore, it actually can be really big. Okay? Some people can be really big because the fat tissue has the ability to store a lot of fat. If they have extra energy, all of them will go to the fat tissue. Okay, so that's the loose connective tissue. The second one, if you have loose, then we have dense. Dense. Okay, not dense. What is the difference? How do you see the difference between dense and dense? See, this one I'm looking for. This one, dense. It's not that dense. I don't know, but this is dense. Okay, dense connective tissue. What does this mean? If it is loose, then it is dense. It's dense mean the fiber, they are close one another. Okay, they are close to one another. Okay, so this dense connective tissue, there are 3 in our body. The first one is called the irregular dense connective tissue. Okay. The second one is regular dense connective tissue. Okay, so the regular one, if it is irregular, let's say this is collagen fiber or elastic fiber, maybe look like this. They just make a irregular way. So maybe you have cell over here, another cell over here. What? If it is dense, what happened? This is very nice. The fiber, they are regularly one another. Maybe you have cell over here, we have another cell over here. Okay? That's a regular. Example of regular dense connective tissue is in our tendon. Tendon is connective tissue that connect bone to bone. Okay? So we have dense, regular. And the last one is elastic dense connective tissue. The name is telling you it has a lot of elastic fibers. And that elastic fiber, they are, make this dense together, right, close one another, and causing the organs to be very elastic. Example of elastic dense connective tissue is our aorta. Anybody know what is aorta? It's the biggest blood vessel that receives the blood from the heart. So it has dense elastic. It can be bigger when it, receive the blood, and then going back to the regular shape when there is no pumping. Right? So it consists of elastic dense connective tissue. You got this one? Right. Number 3. Right. There is a group of connective tissue is called cartilage. Okay, so cartilage. This is not really solid. It's not also liquid. It is a little bit dense and strong. It's called the cartilage. And the cartilage that we have, there are 3 types. The first one is called the hyaline cartilage. We're gonna see the picture later. Hyaline cartilage. This is softer. Example is our nose. We have cartilage in the nose, not the back one. The back one is bone, but the top one over here is actually cartilage. It's made of what? Hyaline cartilage. And then the second one is called the elastic cartilage. This is a little bit stronger than the hyaline, but really, really elastic, like in the ear. So we have cartilage over here. It is very elastic cartilage. And the last one is the very strong cartilage. Is called the fibrocartilage. This is very strong, can absorb the force. Example is the disc between the vertebrae. What you call that disc? Intervertebral disc. So it's made of fibrocartilage. It's very strong. It will not break if you push yourself, forcing yourself, get so many force that go to the cartilage, the vertebral cartilage. What happened? Sometimes the vertebral cartilage is slip from your back, from your bone. What you call that disease? Oh, herniated disc or slip disc. He said, oh, yeah, and usually very, 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 very painful. Believe me, because what? That disc is actually touching your pain receptor and then causing bleeding. The only way usually to solve this is by getting the surgery. To get surgery. Okay, herniated disc, it is caused because of this fibrocartilage. It's really, really strong. It can be slipped from the place, place between the vertebrae. Number four. After cartilage, we have a little bit solid connective tissue. What do you call that? Bone. So bone is a connective tissue. Okay? So bone actually have two types: spongy bone tissue, okay, and compact bone tissue. Okay? Like you have long bones, the outside part mostly really solid. It's called the compact bone. So let's say this is a bone like that. I have it look like bone, sorry. Okay? So this one over here usually very hard because what consists of compact bone tissue. But in the middle, on the top over here, it's a little bit fragile because it has space. Why? Because this top part over here mostly consists of the spongy bone type. And the space that they created from this spongy bone is called the red bone marrow. Have you ever heard that one? And red bone marrow is the place for making our blood. Okay, so our blood is made in red bone marrow that's actually created by the spongy bone. Spongy bone is not compact, it's not really solid, it has space. Get this one? So that's the two different of bone tissue. The last one, then the one that have liquid ground substances. Mostly you don't see the fibers on it. So what do you call that? What's the liquid connective tissue? Blood. So blood is connective tissue. Okay? So mostly you don't see the fiber unless it is during the recovery. If your blood vessel being cut, the blood actually can carry fibers. It's called the fibrin fiber that will seal the leaky blood vessel. Get it? So they actually have fiber, but the fiber mostly dissolved in the liquid, in the blood plasma. Do you have question for this one? We're done. We're gonna see the the picture later. Now it's the next one. After connective tissue, after CT, we have MT. What is MT? Muscular tissue or muscle tissue. Muscle tissue. Okay, so muscle tissue. It is concept of cells, special cells that are elongated. They are very long cells. So we are gonna make classification over here of these three different muscles. Okay, the first one, the muscle that attached to your bone. What you call that? Skeletal muscle. That's the first type. The second one is the one that on the wall of the heart. What do you call that? Cardiac muscle. Okay. And the last one are the muscles that mostly located in the hollow organ, like your blood vessel, GI tract, respiratory tract, urinary tract. It's called smooth muscle. But this smooth muscle also located in other places, like in your eyes. There is called muscle called iris that can control your eye opening, the pupil opening. That's also smooth muscle. There is also smooth muscle on your skin that actually control the erection of the hair. When you have goosebump, what happened? That's actually done by the smooth muscle. So, but smooth muscle mostly in the hollow organ, but also located in several organs. In several other organs. We're gonna see that later. Now, based on structure. Based on structure over here. Structure will be what? About shape, okay, location, and etc. Of course, location. We're gonna see the shape first. It's very long muscle, long cell. Even under the microscope, mostly you don't see the border between the cell because it's so long. Like for example here, from here to here, we have called the femoral muscle, right? They're actually very long. One cell can be from here to here, and there is another cell from here to here. 2,000 cells that goes long, very long, right? Because they are very long, what happened? They have a lot of nucleus in one cell. Let's say this is one cell over here, this is another cell. Instead of only have one nucleus, it has many nuclei. Get it? So, cylindrical muscle has many nuclei per cell. It has stripe. If you see under microscope, then it has stripe. Okay, stripe or striations. You get this one? Non-branching. This means that long muscle is just one long muscle without any branching. Get it? And then location. Where is it located? Attached to bone. Okay. You get this one? Okay. The second one is cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle also cylindrical. Cylindrical muscle. It looks like a cylinder, but it's branching. Let's say maybe look like this, and it's shorter. So you will have another muscle maybe over here. Okay. Because it is shorter, then what happened? It only have one nucleus per cell. Okay, so this is cylindrical also, shorter, branching. If you see under microscope, you also see the stripe. Okay, stripe. Only one nucleus per cell. Okay, and when it is located on the wall of the heart. You with me? Okay. The next one is smooth muscle. How it look like? It is not cylindrical anymore. It look like this. Let's say this is another one over here. Okay? So the shape is look like a spindle. That's why it's called the spindle muscle. Okay? This is shortest of the muscle cell. And then because this is short, what happened? One nucleus per cell. You get this one? Okay? And then it is smooth. That is the name coming from. What is smooth mean? You don't see the stripe. No stripe. Okay? And then where it is located? On the wall of hollow organs, mostly tract organs. They have a hollow or lumens in it, and also some other organs, okay, like eyes, skin. They also have group of smooth muscle that control movement of some part of the organ. Okay? You have questions so far for structure? Eyes, yeah, the eye, you have the eye pupil, and the pupil is like the whole. It's controlled by iris. Iris is actually smooth muscle. Yeah. We're gonna see how that's work. Hey, now function. Okay. First, we have to distinguish how it's work. Skeletal muscle, I think we mentioned before, this is the only effector. What is effector? Organ that perform action based on the control center, based on the brain, right? And the skeletal muscle is the only voluntary muscle. Okay? This means that move your body voluntarily. What does voluntarily mean? If you wish, you can do it. Okay? It is under your control. That's voluntary muscle. Okay? This is for movement of our body, our especially bone. It's actually move the bone, the skeleton. Okay. Cardiac muscle. It is voluntary or involuntary? Involuntary. This is involuntary muscle. What does that mean? You cannot really control it. It will do the contraction automatically. Okay? So you cannot say stop to your heartbeat. It will beat by itself. It's continuously beating. Okay? For this cardiac muscle, it is control the volume of blood in the heart. Another word is actually pumping the blood from the heart chamber. Okay. Now the last one, smooth muscle. Voluntary or involuntary? Can you control them? No. Involuntary muscle. And the function is depend on where they are located. On the GI tract, for example, is help digestion. Move the food from one organ to another organ. For the stomach, to the intestine, and etc. Right? If it is in the GI tract. If it is in the respiratory tract, it will move the air, right? In and out. Okay? That contraction will help you breathing. Some people have difficulty of the breathing sometimes because of the muscle that doesn't work. Like people with asthma. So what happens with people with asthma? The smooth muscle is actually doesn't want to work. Right? It's going to be difficult to breathe. For the urinary tract, for example, what is used for? To move the urine, right? So it depends on the location. I mentioned before, in the eyes, there is a muscle called iris to control the opening of your pupil, the whole of the eyes. On the skin, we have the muscle called the arrector pili. Is actually control the erection of the hair. But can you control it? No, it's do by itself. If you see the scary movie, we are Halloween. What happened with your hair? It's goosebump by itself, right? So you cannot control it. Because what? It's controlled by the smooth muscle, which is involuntary muscle. You follow this? That's the muscle. We're done. We're done with the muscle. The last one. What is the last one? Nervous tissue. Okay, we still have time for seeing the picture later. Yeah. Nervous tissue. Okay, nervous tissue. This is the tissue of the brain, the spinal cord, and also the nerve. Remember, there are three organs of nervous system. What? Brain, spinal cord, and the nerve. What? So the nervous tissue consists of cell. Remember that cell, right? Tissue consists of cell. But the cell of the nervous tissue, there are two types of cell in the nervous tissue. The first one is called the neuron, or nerve cell. Okay, this is actually the functional cell of the nervous tissue. This is the one that carry the information, carry the order. Okay? So neuron is the functional cell of nervous system. What is the function going to be? Carry impulses. Impulses can be sensations, okay, orders, information. That's impulses. So done by who? Neuron. Group of cells called the neuron. Are you with me? The second group of cell in the nervous tissue is called neuroglia. And this cell is not functional cell, but it is supporting. This is supporting cell. Okay, so this is helper. Helper for the neuron. So their function is to help neuron, to support neuron. Get it? That's the neuroglia. So neurons, functional, neuroglia, support. Now if you go to, this is, we can call also the players. The players of the nervous tissue. Now, if you go or watching the game, for example, which one you will see more? The players or the supporters? If you go to the stadium, which one will be more? Supporter or players? Supporter. Unless the game is really bad. More players. But basically, there are more supporters than players, right? The same thing with your nervous tissue over here. Every nine supporter is actually have one neuron. That's the ratio between neuroglia and neuron. So basically, we have more neuroglia, more supporter in our nervous tissue. Okay. Now the neuron is a very special. It has shape like this. This is general shape. It has three main parts. The first one, the one that sends information, is called dendrite, right? The second one is the one that process, is called soma or cell body. And the last part is the longest part of the neuron that carry the information to the next cell, is called the axon. So that's the three parts of the neuron. And you see, the structure will be fit with the function over here to carry something, right? So therefore they have shape like this. Now neuroglia, this is supporter. Now what is supporter do? Of course, support. There are 6 types of neuroglia. Okay, 4 of them located in the CNS. What is CNS? Central nervous system, which is brain and spinal cord. That's what we call the central nervous system. Okay, the other 2 over here is located in the PNS, peripheral nervous system, which is nerve. Remember, nervous system consists of 3 organs, what? Brain, spinal cord, and nerve. Brain and spinal cord is also known as CNS. the nerve is also known as PNS. You got this one, what? Now, 4 of these neuroglia are located in the CNS. One is called astrocyte. Astrocyte. Can you tell me the shape of this astrocyte will be? Aster means star. So the shape is look like star. Cyte means cell, right? What is the function? Nourish the neurons. This is the one that carry the nutrients for the neuron. So, the second one is called the oligodendrocyte. This is the one that produce the substance that will cover the axon over here. The axon, many of them is covered by this, like insulation, insulated by this structure. And this structure is called, sorry, I cannot really say it correctly, so forgive me. It's called myelin sheath. Myelin sheath. Sorry. What, you know that? What? Myelin sheath over here. Hey. Now, what is the function of this myelin sheath? The myelin sheath is actually make the impulse become faster. The bigger the sheath, the bigger the myelin sheath, the faster the faster the impulse muscle will go. Right? We're gonna learn that later. Okay. Right now, just you know that there is myelin. Yes, thank you. Okay. The next one is called the microglia. This is actually white blood cell that stay in the brain and spinal cord. What is the function? Protection against disease, right? The next one is called the ependymal cell. Ependymal cell. And this cell produce CSF. What is CSF? Cerebrospinal fluid. So your brain is also protected by the fluid. Your spinal cord protected by the fluid. That fluid is called the CSF. White blood cell. The function is going to be protection against disease, right? Ependymal cell. Yeah, ependymal cell. Alright. That's 4 of them in the CNS. The other 2 of the neuroglia located in the PNS, which is the first one is called the Schwann cell. Schwann cell. This Schwann cell is the same like oligodendrocyte over here. Produce what? I cannot say it. Produce myelin sheath. That's the Schwann cell. Myelin sheath for the nerve. Okay, for the neuron of the nerve. And satellite cell. This is the function the same like astrocyte. This is nourish the neurons in the PNS. The Schwann cell produce myelin sheath over here. Okay. You got it, right? Okay. Now, then we're gonna see some of the picture. Okay. What is CSF? Cerebrospinal fluid. I'll put it on the top, which is fluid that protect the brain and spinal cord. Yeah, we have 15 minutes to see the picture. I'm gonna move this then in the So this first picture over here telling us different type of ET, right? Squamous, one layer, tubular, one layer, stratified, and etc. Okay, that's the classification of ET. Okay, the move. Again, this is the classification of ET, the name also there, and also location where they are located. Okay? Transitional mostly in the urinary tract, bladder, urethra, ureter. They have transitional type of tissue, ET. This is glandular, which is exocrine or endocrine gland. They have different shape. Okay? We will actually not really discuss about the shape, but we know ET also have a function to produce sweat or hormone. What is glandular function? This is different type of excretion, the release of the product. Maybe that's released from the cell, or part of the cell is actually released with the product, or the cell will die and release the product. So merocrine, apocrine, holocrine. That's different type of gland. This is just showing us location of the oil gland, sebaceous gland. For the one that have left yesterday, we already learned this one. So basically, you're gonna have chapter 5 in the lab today, but the one that have left yesterday, they already have it. So every, look this one, hair over here, always attached to the oil gland. Therefore, the hair mostly oily, because it has oil gland. So that's an example of gland. Now connective tissue, there are many functions, some of them here, and different type based on ground substances, the matrix, ground substances or fiber. Now this is type of connective tissue based on that matrix, okay, loose, dense, cartilage, bones, or blood. This is how it look like. So you see the cell, they are separating. What? That's a characteristic of connective tissue. They have many fiber. If it is the very thin one, it's called reticular. A little bit thicker is called the elastic fiber. And then very thick one is called the collagen fiber. Get it? Okay, so that's connective tissue. They mostly have matrix that consists of ground substances and different type of fiber. This is fat tissue. I believe you saw this in the lab last time. So this is the cell is actually have the ability to fill with the fat, with the energy, extra energy. Can be really big. This is also fat tissue. You see that one? The space over here can be filled with the energy, with the fat storage. This is for storage of energy. This is reticular, which is loose connective tissue, reticular. This is actually come from the spleen. If you see that one, most of the fiber will be reticular fiber. This is cell, another cell, another cell, another cell. They do not bind together. The cells are separated. Okay. This is the dense connective tissue. If you see this one, this is irregular. The fiber, whether collagen fiber or elastic fiber, is not on the same direction. This one is regular, going to the same direction. So it's nice arrangement. That's called a regular connective tissue. This is cartilage, and I believe you saw this under the microscope. The cell one, sometimes two cells bind a little bit. They bind a little bit, but they actually separate itself. And you have the matrix. Matrix over here is a little bit glassy. Less fiber for the hyaline cartilage. This is the, what is the second one? Fibrocartilage, which is in the intervertebral disc. It has a lot of collagen fiber because it's very strong. This one is elastic, like in the ear cartilage. It has mostly elastic fiber. The shape of the cell is very similar with the hyaline over there, but it has more fiber over here. And the name of the cell is now called the chondrocyte. You see that one? The name of the cell is based on the tissue type. If it is in the cartilage, the cell is called chondrocyte. If it is in the blood, it's called the red blood cell, white blood cell, and etc. Right? So they have special name. This is blood. Again, you saw this in the lab last time. Blood has a liquid matrix, ground substances, and then million of this cell. This cell does not have the nucleus. This is red blood cell. And then sometimes you see blue cell under microscope, that's actually white blood cell. And white blood cell has nucleus. There are 5 different types of white blood cell. We're gonna learn that later. Right? Sometimes you see also small blue cell around it. It is called the platelet. So we also have platelets in the blood. This is muscle. Right? Again, there are 3 types. Skeletal muscle is very long. You see that one? This is one muscle. Even you don't see the border. And then the nucleus is on the side. It's actually pushed to the side. And many nuclei per one cell. This one is the smooth muscle. This is smooth muscle actually. It looks like a spindle. And this one is the cardiac muscle. It's branching. Some of them is branching, shorter, 1 nucleus per cell. If you see closer, you're going to see the stripe in this cardiac and skeletal muscle. Okay, that's the muscle. The last one, nervous tissue. This is how it looks like. This is just the schematic drawing of the neurons. Yeah, if you see under microscope, it maybe look like this. This is actually, you only see the cell body. And sometimes the axon is cut, the dendrite, you don't really see it. Okay? And then around it, there is a smaller cell that's actually oligodendrocyte or astrocyte, which is the neuroglia. It has 3 parts, dendrite, cell body, and the axon. Now look, like I said, this is the one that I said. What do you call it again?